Hey, good afternoon, guys. This is Jimmy from Primer is Best. If I sound funny, or let me say, if I talk funny, it's because I've been to the dentist. I had a filling put in my tooth, and so my feels like my jaw is can't hardly walk in between these trucks. So that's what it feels like. But it's a hot day today here in East Tennessee, and I thought that I would I don't know what I'm going to do. It's one of those type days. It's too late to really get into anything, but it's too early to just sit in the house. So it's one of those kind of days, you see. But I was thinking about a video I posted the other day, or I don't know when you're seeing this video, but I was talking about loyalty at your workplace, that it's pretty much non-existent. I was just thinking about, I watch videos of people talking about their workplace and stuff, and you know what they're going through, this, that, and the other, and whatever. I mean, this is the good old U.S. of A., or this is where I live here in East Tennessee. I mean, there's worse places. I'm not working in a sweatshop in China. I mean, there's worse places in the world, but I'm just saying, I mean, that's an extreme. You can, people at the workplace, even in the good old U.S. of A., even in here in East Tennessee, Tennessee is a right to work state. So, I mean, you're not going to get that you can be terminated or whatever, I mean, at any time. Unless you're a union facility. Let me get this spider off here. They're good, but I don't want them if I'm going to be walking there, which I will in a minute, I guess. Anyway, Tennessee is a right to work state, which means, like I just said, you can be terminated anytime. There's no job per se. I mean, if you got a job, you can be moved, which I was moved a lot. Look at that stupid mosquito. I'd like to get him if I can. He's trying to zone in on me here. I know y'all can't see him, but trust me, I know it looks wacko just from a distance, me slinging my shoe up there. But anyway, getting back to my point, I'll try to stay on point. I mean, unless you're a union or something, you can be moved for no reason. You can be terminated for no reason, or or whatever. They can, a factory place, a place where you work. Like I said, I'm 68. I've always worked in factories for the biggest part of my life, mostly welding, and you can be. I mean, they can do whatever they want. Every place I've ever worked, I've been moved different spots. Just wherever. And I'm kind of good with it. Like I said, I used to be an aluminum. I've been a welder most of my life, but a good part of my life I was an aluminum welder, and I worked at a facility that made petroleum tankers. If you don't know what that means that you the gas trailer trucks that provide gas to your local service station to fill up your car or truck. We made those trailers, and every one of them's, I know they all look the same, but when you get to building them and, reading the blueprint, how it's supposed to be built, certain ways, this, that, and the other, they're all different. Unless it's, like a uniform customer, say like a Exxon or Shell or, some big manufacturer, big petroleum facility like that, they want their trailers a certain way, certain items put on it, certain compartments just be so big, this, that, and the other. It's all different. It's like the difference between this truck and a 2025 Chevy truck, I mean, there's so much difference that don't even compare. That's about the difference of working at one of those facilities. I mean, they all look the same, but they're not. And my buddies and I worked there for 14, I think it's 14 years, maybe 15, but this real somewhere in that time frame. And I was thinking about, I've been wrote up twice my whole life, wrote up by management for doing something wrong. So I'm going to tell you about those experiences. And like I said, you can be wrote up, terminated, whatever, at any time. No, don't have to have a reason. By the way, let me tell you this first. This is my 1984 Chevy C10 truck. It goes by the name of Left Turn Bill. I'm doing an introduction. This is my 1978 Chevy C10 truck, Billy James. There's a reason I'm telling y'all this. Hang on just for a minute. Anyway, like I said, I've been wrote up twice my whole life of working. I've worked every day of my life that I was not deathly sick, or when my wife had cancer, Miss PIB, she had cancer, and I had excused, it didn't count against you to stay home and take care of my wife, which I had to do. So anyway, twice I've been wrote up. I think I've said that 3 times now. Let's get on to it. Jimmy, my name's Jimmy. The first time I've ever got wrote up in my life was I was working at a building a petroleum trailer. And it goes down the assembly line like on a railroad track, Pretend like this is a railroad track, like a train would go on, railroad track, get it? You've got a trailer here. You've got a trailer here. You've got a trailer there. You've got a trailer there. You've got a trailer there. They're all going down the assembly line. Everybody counts on the next guy. If you move the trailers will move. When you're done with it, it's your particular job. So they'll move down the assembly line, and a new one will be put up at the head of the line, and a new trailer starts being born. And it goes from here to here to here to here, like an auto assembly. Somebody puts on the frame, somebody puts on the wheels. It goes down a little further. Somebody puts a motor. Blah 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 blah, until you get a complete truck. Well, a trailer is the same way, just like that. You got your running gear, you've got, fenders, you've got, everything. When you look at a trailer at a petroleum trailer at the gas station, just kind of look at it. There's a lot that goes on one of those trailers. Well, there was, at the time there was, three assembly lines. And it just so happened that day or that week, it'd take like 2 to 3 days to do one part of the production, the assembly. And then, when the guy in front of you was done, the guy in front of him was done, blah, blah, just on and on and on. When they're all done, you'll move the trailer down. Well, my friend and I, we were partners. We'd been partners for years, working on petroleum trailers at this one stop in its life, and we were putting it together. So, there's another group over here next door to us, so to speak, and they were doing the same thing. Just so happened as the same trailer, say like Exxon, for example. Exxon here, Exxon here, Exxon over there. Going down the assembly line. Well, we read blueprints. Took exact measurements, blueprints and stuff, to see how things went. And so, all let's see, there'd been 6 of us, 2 here, 2 here, 2 over there, per shift, is 3 shift operation. So, yeah, we would be working on the tank. Well, we hung the blueprint up on the wall. Pretend like this is the wall, and we hung the blueprint up, and we were all looking at it. Well, it said something. All 6 of us read it the same way, that something went a certain way. turned a certain way, a certain part went on it, whatever. And so come to find it, I mean, we welded it all in, and all of us are good welders. My partner and I that I partnered with every day for years and years, we were so good at and I'm not bragging, but I'm just telling you, we were so good at our jobs that customers would ask for us to build their trailer for them. They would ask for us, and they got to where they knew us. Hey, I want Jimmy, and I'm not going to mention my friend's name, to do this trailer. So they'd make provisions for us to work on their trailer. So and also we took the welding test for the company. My partner and I would take the welding test for the state of Tennessee, and we would they'd call us up at a certain place in the building, and we'd have to do welding tests for the state. And they would take that metal off to the state, and the state would take all the testing that we done. You'd have to, you'd weld straight, you'd weld down, you'd weld up, you'd weld side, every kind of which direction welding. And if the metal, they would bend the metal. You see, the state would. They'd bend the metal. They'd have our clock number on it, by the way, too. Who done what? Which one does? Who done this part? So the state would get it, bend the metal. If the metal broke before the weld did, the company passed. They would stay state certified. I don't know if that makes sense to y'all or not, but I'm just telling you how it is. Anyway, if the weld broke before the metal did, that's not good. So my partner and I had to take the test for the whole company to stay state certified aluminum welding. Different kinds of aluminum welding, TIG welding, and all that stuff. So anyway, make a long story short, let's get back on point. We all got rode up. All 6 of us got rode up because we read the blueprint wrong. Now, still to this day, I don't know how we read the blueprint wrong. I mean, we're over here on this side, they're over there on that side, and they're over there on that side. And I mean, we're not talking to one another about something. I mean, we just looked at the blueprint, read what the customer wanted, and we put the part on. I can't remember if we put it on. Sometimes things go one way, sometimes things go another, like cross members and stuff like that. So I can't remember what the circumstance was, but they, as it got down to the end of the line, about to be mounted on the running gear, they get a crane, pick up the trailer, pick it up, set it on running gear, with a giant crane that goes overhead. And anyway, we got all 6 of us got rode up. They brought us in the office and told us, said, all 6 of you guys, all 6 of y'all have messed up, and you put the wrong part, or something was turned wrong. I'm not sure, wrong measurement, whatever. Everything was pretty precise. So anyway, we all 6 got rode up for that. And I think still to this day, I think about that, and I think the guy that done the blueprint done something wrong. I mean, because we built hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of petroleum trailers, and that's the only time we've ever been rode up. Or, well, my second time I got rode up was I left that place, and I went to another manufacturing facility, and I'm going to try to make this short and sweet if I can. So I worked at another facility, and how can I say this? I worked, me and another feller, like from here to that house, say like over there, maybe, well, further than that. Further than that. Uh, they they only had one break room, and it was way down yonder. And you walked, of course, but it was time for break. You get 10 minutes for break, so we'd walk up there. I'd go wash my hands, eat something, whatever I brought in the lunchbox, and it was break time was over. So we were getting up, and they only had one restroom too. By the way, I should have added that in the beginning. So we was fixing to walk back to our welding facility and go back to welding, and the restroom was up here next to our break room. Just you know pretend like this is the break room. And when you come out of the break room, you walk out in the aisle, and there's a restroom. And I told my buddy, I said, I think I'm going to go to the restroom real quick before I walk back and start welding. So he said, I think I will too. Save a trip walking there, 10, 30 minutes later having to walk back because you got to go to the restroom. So we went to the restroom, done our business, about, a minute later, we're walking back. Well, there was beams, when I say beams, I mean columns, holding up the roof. It is a big facility, big facility. And I seen somebody standing behind the column, and I thought, what is he doing? But we just kept on walking back to our job site, or, where we were welding at. And he jumped out he jumped out from behind the beam there. I don't know, it's about this wide beam. I mean, you couldn't help but see him. I thought he's just playing a joke or something, actually. But, he was a boss and all that. And, I thought he's just saying, hey, or something, just joking around. He said, you're late from break. And I said, well, yeah, I said, we might be a minute or two late. But I said, we went to the restroom so we didn't have to walk back to our job, welding place, our job. And instead of us walking back up here and then walking back, we're trying to save steps and stay welding. Well, that didn't suit him. So a few minutes later, my actual boss, this guy was over the facility down there, like an overseer. And I had an actual boss. So a few minutes later, sure enough, I got called to my boss's office. And he said, Jimmy, sit down. So I sat down. I said, what's going on? I'm not going to mention his name either. I almost did, but I'm not going to mention it. I said, what's going on? He said, the guy that jumped, I'm not mentioning his name, the guy that jumped out from behind the beam, the big boss over the facility, he said, he wants me to write you up. And because you were late a couple of minutes. I said, what? He said, yeah. He said, I want you to know right off from the beginning, I don't have nothing to do with this. He said, he's making me do this. I said, well, it kind of upset me because I was actually trying to save them money, you see. And my buddy was too. So we both got rolled up. And, at the time, I told him, I said, it's a shame. How can I word this where you don't get offended? But I said, it's a shame that that he doesn't want to write us up himself. I said, he's having you do it. I said, to me, he's chicken. I said, because we explained to him why we was going to the restroom. I said, there's only one restroom in the whole place that works. I mean, they had others, but they were so condemned, you couldn't use them. So, yep. So that's only 2 times I've ever been rode up. If you've ever been rode up in your life, at a, working somewheres, let me know in the comments. I've had some good bosses, that if you work, they won't bother you. you know, and you know, the manager knew that I worked. The manager knew he worked. I mean, we wouldn't run around all over the place. We was actually trying to save them money. And to me, you know, I'd have been saying, well, good thinking. You know, I'm glad you went to the restroom now instead of wasting 20 minutes walking back and forth. But no, no, no. Uh, that brings me to another. Well, you know what? I'm not even going to mention this video. If you like these type videos, let me know in the comments. I have more stupid. Well, I have more content. Let me say it like that. More content that I'd be willing to share with you if you're interested. And if not, just say, Jimmy, I don't want to hear no more, and I won't do no more. It's as simple as that. But anyway, like I said, I've had some good bosses, and I've had some bosses that wouldn't much. Say it like that. Wouldn't much. And I'm not trying to say anything bad about anybody, nothing like that. But I mean, these people are supposed to be educated. That's what gets me. Now, I'm not the brightest bulb in the room. I know I'm not the brightest bulb in the room. I'm not. But, you know, I just don't know how some... That's another video. Anyway, thank you for watching. I just wanted to come out here and check on these trucks. I might start them. I don't know. But I got thinking about that, and I thought, well, I'll share this with you. And I don't know if you understood everything I was saying about, you know, welding on petroleum trailers and all that stuff. I really liked that job building petroleum trailers. It was interesting, and as I said, everything was different. I mean, you know, you might have 2 or 3 tanks or 4 or 5 tanks that, you know, what I'm calling, you know, petroleum trailers. I call them tanks. That's what we all call them. You know, that might be the same. Then you get a different customer that wants something another way or oddball way or whatever. We had some real oddball trailers that come through, and I mean, to look at them, you wouldn't know. But for us that does it every day, it's pretty oddball. Some of the requests that they required, that they wanted on their trailers. And some of them are like Exxons, I mean, and Mobile. Man, they are extensive. Oh my goodness, they are extensive. I enjoyed the job. It was different. And, but what got me wanting to change jobs from there, even though I enjoyed the job, is if you've been watching my channel, Primer is Best, my knees were going bad. So I was having to go to the doctor quite often, every few weeks or so, 2 weeks, whatever. And, you know, I'd go to the doctor, and, you know, my knee would swell up real big. You know, bending. I stayed on my knees welding. We stayed, like, let me tell you this real quick. Say like this is a trailer, you know, petroleum trailer. Okay. They had arms. You'd take a level, you know, a big level, and you would level it up, you know, each side, so the trailer is perfectly level, top and bottom. Okay. You go up steps. You worked up high. You go up steps, and you're on a wooden platform. Okay, you have flaps that come down to cover so you don't fall through. Working on the trailers, and you put the flaps down, and you know, get out the packet that has the blueprints in it and all the requirements, you know, parts, whatever they're needing, by number or by design, and you know, you start working on it. The bottom part of the trailer is the hardest, because it has, you know, my opinion, all the guts. The top part is bad, but it's not as bad. You got manhole rings that you can go into the tank, inside the tank, you know, all that stuff. Anyway, it's just, I worked up high with my partner, and we done that every day. We'd go in at like 4 in the morning and get off at 3. You know, a third shift was a skeleton shift. You know, meaning there wasn't many people there. If we were behind on something, the skeleton crew would work on the tank. If not, they'd go further down to try to make the transition from, moving the line quicker, you see. So, anyway, it was an interesting job, but that's why I left there. I enjoyed the camaraderie with my friends that I made there. I mean, we were all really good friends, and I enjoyed the job, but my body couldn't take it anymore. Anyway, the doctor kept pulling fluid out of my knee all the time, and I was going pretty regular. And he was pulling fluid out of my knee one day, and he said, "Jimmy," he said, "your knees are shot." He said, "You're going to have to find another line of work." And at the time, I was single, raising my son, and so I started looking. Oh no, let me take that back. Mrs. PIB and I had just gotten married. That's what it was. We just gotten married. Hadn't been married very long at all. A year and a half, something like that. And anyway, so I started looking for another job, and this community that we live in here in East Tennessee, they have a committee. Back in the day, now this is a long time ago, okay? They had a committee called the Committee of 100. The Committee of 100. So, and that was all the businesses and in the town closest to us, where I lived, So they had an agreement amongst themselves, that if you put in an application, say like you want, I see, what can I say? Okay, where I worked at, if I wanted to put in an application to go work over here at another place, another facility, whatever, they would not hire me because I was already working here. And they would tell my company I work for now, the one that I was trying to get a new job and go up here. Does that make sense? They would call and tell them that I had put in an application there, so they knew before before I got home that I was trying to find another job. You see. So that went on for a while, and anyway, I wound up having to go out of town, out of the county, several counties away, to get another job. So, but then again, when I got another job, it was a good job. We were making toilet paper and paper towels, and my wife always joked around saying, my wife, Miss PIB, she said, "Well, Jimmy's a toilet paper tester." She likes clowning around with me and with other folks. Anyway, so because I had went out of town and I worked there several years, I really liked that job, but it was 12-hour swings. Oh my goodness, 12-hour swings. It'd take me an hour of driving from my home to that facility. You work and, you get there early. So, they'd have a meeting before the shift. So you'd have to sit for that meeting to find out what the other shift's problems were, or how they resolved it, or what to look for. So you sit there for the meeting. And then afterwards, there's another meeting after your shift. You got to tell the next shift, which would be, the next shift coming on. There's only 2 shifts, remember, 12-hour shifts, 24/7. So yeah, so that made for a long day, plus an hour back home. So by the time I'd get home and get a shower, a lot of times, I'd get in the bed, like 8 in the morning. And I'd get up again like at 2:30, because I'd have to go pick up my son and Mrs. PIB's son. We had 2 boys, both the same age, believe it or not. They got along great. And anyway, so I stayed there for a few years, but guys, I just never could get no rest. I stayed tired all the time. My goodness, I stayed tired all the time. It's 2 weeks on. days, 2 weeks on nights. And by the time I got used to one shift, it's time to switch to another. And, I found myself coming home, driving home, getting really, really sleepy. So I turned the radio on music I didn't know, so I wouldn't get accustomed to hearing the same songs or whatever. Roll the window down, hoo-ha, hoo-ha, whatever. Talk to myself, just anything, try to keep myself awake till I got home. I was on the interstate. So, yeah, that was quite an adventure. I really liked that job. I really liked it. It was good. I worked in shipping, and I really enjoyed that job. It was a good job. But once again, that job was seem like it's trying to kill me. I never could get no rest. I just never could. So anyway, that's another story, another time. Anyway, you know what? Let's end this video here. I've talked enough. My goodness, I just now realized how long I've been talking. I apologize. I'm going to start these two trucks and see if they'll start. It's been a long, long, long time since I've started them. And see if they'll even start. So I always disconnect the batteries. If you're wondering why I have the hoods lifted up, it's to remind me to connect and to disconnect the batteries, you see. So thanks for watching. Thanks for listening to me. If you like these kind of stories, let me know in the comments. Like and subscribe. My name's Jimmy. You're watching Prime It Is Best. I'm on Facebook, Prime It Is Best. Instagram, Prime It Is Best. Got a second YouTube channel called Man on a Budget. I'm on Instagram, Man on a Budget 1. And Facebook, Man on a Budget. Y'all have a blessed day. I am so happy to be alive. It is hot. It is 90 plus degrees. Probably 91 or 92, if not more. But you know what? I'll take this over wintertime anytime. I am sweating to death. Let me say it again. I'm sweating. I'm not sweating to death. Come on, Jimmy. Try to be truthful. I'm very hot. So, if you enjoy these videos, let me know. You can do so by subscribing. Leave me a comment and give me a thumbs up, would you? Sweating. Nothing wrong with that. I've sweated most of my life. That's another thing about welding. You can't have no fans or anything blowing on you, and most the places I worked at did not have any AC. So, I mean, if you had a fan blowing towards you, a lot of times you'd have to turn it off so you would make a good weld. You wouldn't blow your welding gas away from your nozzle. So, and you put on clothing to keep you from getting burnt. You put on 2 pair of gloves, cloth gloves and then leather gloves so you don't burn your hands. And of course you got a little thing over your head. I can't remember what you call it exactly, but keep you from burning your sparks on your head or burning your hair. And then you got a welding helmet on. So I mean, it's always felt like it's 10,000 degrees, especially when you're welding. You got to that's the welder, a sound. Y'all have a blessed day. Thanks for listening to me. God bless y'all. Thanks for watching. I'll catch y'all in the next one. You won't miss nothing if you like and subscribe. Y'all take care. See you next time. God bless you.